Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga. Introduction. The entire Bhagavad Gita explains the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. We all know this. The first six chapters of Bhagavad Gita explain the word Tvam, that is you. The second six chapters explain the term Tat. The last six chapters are explaining the term Asi, the equation between the two. Tat Tvam Asi. Simply put, the spirit functioning through matter, that is, body, mind, and sense complex, is the living beings. If a man knows the art of separating himself from the matter envelopments, then he leads the life of infinite spirit, even while living in this world. The more the ego vanishes or dies, to that extent, he lives the life of divine. That is the principle. For separating milk mixed with water, it is not easy. We don't have, you cannot separate it. Extremely difficult. You must become a swan, which is said to have a special technique to drink the milk alone and leave the water. We can't do that. Similarly, to live at the spirit level or divine living, it is not easy. As a human being, it is not impossible, but it is not easy. First, one should know what is matter and what is spirit. Otherwise, how will you spirit the matter from spirit? Like the milk and water, they are mixed together. So then only we can learn the art of separating the matter from spirit. Hence, Bhagavan Krishna in chapter 13 explained what is Prakriti and Purusha, what is Kshetra and Kshetranya, what is knowledge, and what is that ought to be known. He explained that in detail. After explaining this in chapter 13, Bhagavan felt the need to explain how this Purusha is bound to Prakriti or spirit to matter, totally opposite to each other, but bound together. An inexplainable combination. You can't explain this combination. Finite is perishable, infinite is imperishable. Finite is limited, infinite is unlimited. Finite has got the five changes: birth, growth, decay, disease, and death. Infinite is unborn and not subject to any change. How can one tie this to the matter? How can space can how the space can be tied to earth? Impossible combination. But the truth is, it is tied. We are all there. The suppler of the surplus, that is consciousness, which is suppler than the space, is tied to the matter equipments. How these two are tied to become the living beings? Bhagavan explained how the infinite gets tied to matter equipments. These are the three chains. Already we have discussed in detail: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Bhagavan explained in detail in chapter 14 the three gunas. What are their effects and how to get removed from the shackles of the three gunas to reach the ultimate goal. So we know we are tied together with three chains. So one by one we have to remove the chains, all the three chains. Then only you can start living at the level of self. That is what Bhagavan Krishna said in chapter 14. Bhagavan Krishna in chapter 15 explains the Supreme Spirit. Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes Adi Shankara here. Adi Shankara says, not only the results of action is dependent on Ishvara, but also the pursuit of knowledge, that is moksha. We have already seen this verse. Karmanyeva adhigaraste ma paleshu gadachana ma karma balahetur bhuhu Mate sangostva karma. You have only the right to perform action. Results are not totally dependent on you. It is a blessing of Bhagavan Krishna. You call it by any name. So, Adi Shankara says, not only the results of action is dependent on Bhagavan Krishna, but also the pursuit of knowledge. That is also dependent on Bhagavan Krishna's blessing. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says in this chapter, Bhagavan Krishna first talks about the nature of samsara in order to help Arjuna develop vairagya, that is dispassion, towards the samsara. There is no moksha within samsara. Samsara sagaram, we say. It is like trying to swim in the sea, rough sea. Whether you want to gain heaven or gain security, which is only prompted by self dissatisfaction, it is trying to gain moksha within samsara. Moksha is actually freedom from samsara. How can one achieve it within samsara? By remaining in samsara. That is the question. If you want to escape the sea, how can you remain in sea and then say, no, I want to escape the sea? I am just thinking of an example. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, how can one achieve it within samsara? By remaining in samsara. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, there is a catch. One must develop vairagya to appreciate that there is no moksha within samsara. Only if you are in samsara, you can understand that there is no moksha in samsara and develop that vairagya. To resolve this dilemma and help us develop dispassion, Bhagavan first gives the essentials of samsara using the imagery of a tree. Since samsara implies erroneous knowledge about realities, which is caused by ignorance, Bhagavan Krishna teaches the truth of the self, that is Atma Tattva. This is what Swami Dayananda Saraswati says. Swami Chinmayananda says, the changing finite world of multiplicity is nothing but the projection of the infinite. Umpteen number of times we have quoted this example. The sun ray, when it is coming through the bosom, it looks like a Vibgr. Each color says, I am independent, I am separate, you are separate. Entire world is nothing but projection of the same sun's rays. Similarly, we are also saying, you are different, I am different. But we are all the sun's ray. We are all nothing but Bhagavan Krishna. Projection of Bhagavan Krishna. The painful experiences of this world are nothing but our own misapprehension of reality. In this chapter, Bhagavan explains the nature of spirit in all its implication. In terms of the known alone, Swami Chinmayananda says, in terms of the known alone, the unknown can be indicated. Swami Chinmayananda gives the following example. Without cotton, cotton is the cause. No cloth, that is effect, can exist. Wherever there is cloth, it is sustained by cotton. That is material cause. The world of the known is the manifested objects of perception, emotions and thoughts. No effect can be without a cause, and all effects must sustain themselves in their own material cause. Bhagavan Krishna in this chapter explains the imperishable with reference to this perishable world. Bhagavan explains how the experience of changes, which are infinite in variety, is even something other than that which we know as a changeless. This unconditional, eternal factor is called as Purushottam. This is what Swami Chinmayananda says. So, in my understanding, I want to say in a simple manner, in my understanding, we all know that the word Purushottama means Purusha plus Uttama, the supreme person or the highest being. This we have seen long back. This entire chapter is on Purusha Uttama. We all know that Maya is very powerful and extremely attractive. We are all uh, we are all under the control of Maya, which is more powerful and very attractive. Purusha, we have not seen. Unthinkable, unexplainable, and beyond imagination also. To attain that Purusha, one must have Viveka and Vairagya. Viveka is discriminating between Sat and Asat. After knowing that Asat gives only temporary happiness and is full of pain. The happiness is Ananda. The Purna Ananda is within us. Our Vairagya is only Prasava Vairagya. That is, people used to say, the pregnant girl at the time of delivery makes a determination. No more childbirth I will give. Hereafter, no childbirth because the pain is so huge. But alas, she will have 8 children, one in hand and one in tummy, every year. Similarly, that is Prasava Vairagya. Similarly, even after knowing that Asat, this world of objects, is full of pain and it is the cause for all the dukkhas in this world, we get attached to Asat. We know that it is painful, but we get attached to the Asat. That is the power of Maya. Further, we know very little about Sat. How much we know about Purusha? Even after reading 14 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, we know extremely little. At least we have some knowledge. The common saying is out of sight, out of mind. I asked my Delhi friends, nowadays why you are not calling me? You have forgotten me, I said. They said out of sight, out of mind. At least they have seen me. They know very little about me. How can one develop affection towards the Purusha Uttama, about whom we know nothing? Hence this chapter on Purusha Uttama. Ravana was having hundreds of wives and was living with them happily. The day on which he heard about Sita Mata from Surpanaka, he disliked all his wives and started living separately. Separate palace he built, and then he went into that. He never lived there with his wives. He was always thinking about Sita Mata from the day on which he heard from Surpanaka, from the moment I would say, morning to night. The more he thought, the more he longed about her and took all steps to attain her. But he was totally against Dharma. Similarly, we are living with thousands of unwanted things of this world and are living with them happily, since we have not heard about the Purusha Uttama. Once we hear about that Purusha Uttama from Bhagavan Krishna, maybe we, like Ravana, we may develop aversion to the world of objects and start loving that Purusha Uttama. And then we will try to attain him. That is the point. This is Dharma. What Ravana did was Adharma. This is Dharma. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, this chapter shows that everything is self. It deals with Jagat, that is the world, the Jiva, that is the individual, the root cause for birth and death, the Sukshma Sarira, that is the subtle body, and the daily activities, and so on. In addition, it talks about the qualifications which enables a person to cross the samsara. That is what Swami Dayananda Saraswati says. We will start this chapter from tomorrow, verse 1 tomorrow. Arihom Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 नारायण नारायण.